One click to join, 4 pages, 6 clicks, and 15 different options to cancel. Amazon named their cancellation process the Iliad, after Homer's 16,000-line epic poem about a decade-long war. They thought it was funny. Internally, Amazon employees called what they were doing a shady world, an unspoken cancer. One internal memo described their own techniques as designed to mislead or trick users into signing up for a recurring bill. And when executives were told they weren't winning for customers, they chose not to fix it, because fixing it would cause a shock to business performance. Over 7 years, Amazon enrolled 35 million people into Prime without their proper consent. 35 million. That's not a glitch. That's not an accident. That's a business model. When the Federal Trade Commission finally took Amazon to court, the trial lasted 4 days. On the 4th day, Amazon settled for $2.5 billion. The largest penalty ever in a case involving an FTC rule violation. But here's the thing, Amazon makes $44 billion a year from Prime subscriptions alone. The fine was 5.7% of 1 year's Prime revenue. They paid the parking ticket, and they kept the car. To understand what Amazon did, you need to understand dark patterns. In 2010, a UX designer named Harry Brignall coined the term. A dark pattern is a user interface deliberately designed to trick you into doing something you didn't intend. Signing up for something you didn't want. Paying for something you didn't ask for. Agreeing to terms you never read. They work because they exploit how your brain processes visual information. A big yellow button that says Join Prime next to a tiny gray link that says No thanks. Your eyes go to the button. Your thumb follows. You click before you think. Amazon didn't invent dark patterns, but they perfected them. The FTC identified 6 specific techniques Amazon used: misdirection, forced action, sneaking, obstruction, interface steering, and confirm shaming. Each one carefully engineered by teams of designers and data scientists at the richest company on earth to extract money from ordinary people who just wanted to buy a toothbrush. Here's exactly how the trap worked. You go to Amazon to buy something: a pair of headphones, a phone charger, toilet paper. During checkout, a screen appears offering you Amazon Prime. The Join Prime button is large, bright yellow, and impossible to miss. The option to skip? A tiny gray text link, sometimes buried below the fold, sometimes worded as "No, I don't want free shipping." On mobile, it was even worse. Amazon collected your payment information before telling you what Prime actually costs. Before telling you it auto-renews. Before telling you that you'd be charged $139 a year. A federal judge ruled that this practice violated the plain text of ROSCA, the Restore Online Shoppers Confidence Act. No reasonable jury could find in favor of Amazon. His words. And this wasn't an accident. Amazon deliberately designed it this way. When internal teams proposed changes to make the enrollment process clearer, executives rejected them. Because clarity would cause a shock to business performance, they chose confusion. They chose billions. Now, imagine you realize you've been charged. You go to cancel. Welcome to the Iliad. Page 1 asks you to reconsider. Shows you everything you'll lose. Free shipping. Prime Video. Prime Music. Photo storage. Page 2 offers you a discount. Maybe 50% off for 3 months. It looks like a good deal. That's the point. It's designed to make you pause. Page 3 asks you again. Are you sure? Really sure? Here's what you're giving up. Page 4 finally lets you cancel, but only after navigating through 15 different options, most of which aren't actually cancel. The whole process requires 6 separate clicks. Remember, signing up took 1. The Norwegian Consumer Council published a report about this in 2021 titled, "You Can Log Out, But You Can Never Leave." 16 consumer organizations across Europe filed complaints. Their director said it plainly. Companies like Amazon speculate that they can discourage customers from canceling by making the process so complicated that users simply give up. And that's exactly what millions of people did. They gave up. They kept paying. Amazon kept counting. The most damning part of this story isn't what Amazon did. It's that they knew exactly what they were doing and chose to keep doing it. The FTC took the unusual step of naming 3 senior executives personally in the lawsuit. Neil Lindsay, Senior Vice President; Jamil Ghani, Vice President; Russell Grandinetti, Senior Vice President. Internal documents showed these executives were fully aware that consumers were being subscribed without consent. They chose not to act. They slowed improvements. They rejected changes that would have helped consumers. They reversed UX fixes that reduced non-consensual enrollment, because those fixes also reduced revenue. One employee wrote directly to VP Ghani, "The way I see it, we are not winning for customers by ignoring the simple and obvious lack of information, but applauding a business gain." Another called their own work a shady world. Another called the problem an unspoken cancer. They knew. They documented it. They even had a nickname for one executive overseeing the dark patterns, the Chief Dark Arts Officer. And when the FTC came asking for evidence, Amazon withheld 70,000 documents under false claims of attorney-client privilege. When the court forced them to review those claims, Amazon withdrew 92% of them. They weren't privileged, they were just embarrassing. Let's talk about the money. Amazon makes $44 billion a year from Prime subscriptions. That's grown 1,500% in 10 years. There are over 200 million Prime members worldwide, 168 million in the United States alone. And by Amazon's own internal estimate, revealed at trial, 35 million of those enrollments over 7 years were non-consensual. 35 million people paying $139 a year who never meant to sign up. Do that math. That's up to $4.8 billion in revenue from people who didn't want Prime. The settlement was $2.5 billion, half of what they made from the scheme. And the refunds? Up to $51 per person. You were charged $139 a year, potentially for multiple years, and you get back $51. The 3 executives named in the lawsuit? None of them paid personal penalties. None of them lost their jobs. Amazon's official statement after paying $2.5 billion? We have always followed the law. Amazon isn't the only one. Epic Games paid $520 million for tricking Fortnite players into unwanted purchases. Intuit marketed TurboTax as free when most people couldn't actually file for free. Google was caught manipulating users into enabling location tracking. And when the FTC tried to fix this for everyone, when they passed the click-to-cancel rule in October 2024, requiring companies to make cancellation as easy as sign-up, the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals struck it down. The court said the FTC didn't complete its regulatory analysis. The rule designed to protect you from every company doing what Amazon did was thrown out. So where does that leave us? Europe fixed this in 2022. They forced Amazon to offer 2-click cancellation across all EU sites. Poland fined Amazon $8 million. Norway published a report that triggered 16 countries to take action. In America, it took 4 more years, cost taxpayers millions in legal fees, and ended with Amazon paying a fraction of what they made. The richest company in the world spent 7 years tricking the poorest customers into paying for something they didn't want, and the system that was supposed to stop them couldn't even keep its own rule on the books. Here's what this story really comes down to. Amazon built a system where joining was effortless and leaving was war. They named the war after a 16,000-line poem and laughed about it. Their own employees called it cancer. Their own memos described it as designed to mislead. And when someone finally asked them to stop, they hid 70,000 documents and paid $2.5 billion to make the trial go away on day 4. 35 million people were enrolled without consent. They get back $51 each. Amazon keeps $44 billion a year and says we have always followed the law. The next time you click that yellow button, the big, bright one that Amazon designed to be the only thing you see, ask yourself, did you choose to click it? Or did they choose for you? Because the most dangerous design isn't the one that breaks. It's the one that works exactly as intended. If you've ever been charged for something you didn't sign up for, share this video with someone who needs to see it. Last week we exposed how one man stole $150 million from 27,000 grandparents and got away with it for 3 years. Next week we're going deeper. Subscribe to The Blind Spot. See what they don't want you to see.